Peace, salute. What's good? It's your brother God Science up in here. Like my intro, funky intro. Salute to the few that do watch the videos and subscribe. I really appreciate y'all, true indeed. We're gonna talk about the nation of gods and earth today and about hip hop. Hip hop. I don't think you can mention hip hop without mentioning the nation of gods and earth because they had a very big impact on that shit. And I'm just building off of the WuTang story. We'll talk a little bit of hip hop today. Hip hop, to me is very spiritual. Not that new shit. Well, I guess, everybody got their own thing. I'm not gonna hate. If these young kids want to do that, trap, drill shit. Some of it is alright, but when you get a certain age, talking about shooting somebody, it gets a little corny after a while. So I'm an old school brother, so I'm not hating on the youngins, you know what I'm saying? I'm not hating on the youngins, but I had a taste of the 80s, the late 80s. I'm an 80s baby. I had a taste of the late 80s, early 90s hip hop. Come on, man. That's the golden era. So, Nation of Gods and Earths. And brief story, a lot of people see my name and he's a 5%er. I got 5%ers, calling me. I'm a fake 5%er. I actually got 5%ers that, go at me. Why? Because they say I don't follow 120. Right? Okay. What is 120? The supreme wisdom lessons that Honorable Elijah Muhammad got from Master Farad Muhammad. Yeah, I know y'all think he's white, so they make fun of him. But there's something in that teaching. Nation of Gods and Earths helped change my life. And there'll always be a foundation, regardless of how much people want to tell me I'm not a 5%. I'm never going to stop showing love to the Nation of Gods and Earths because they were involved in making me a better person, period. And I think anybody that applies themselves to those teachings will become a better person. Now, of course, you got the stigma of 5%ers in jail back in New York. A drug dealer kingpin with righteous names. You know what I mean? I'm not hating on nobody. You got to get it how you get it. But the lessons is about righteousness. Poor righteous teaching, which I never liked that word, poor righteous teaching. Calling yourself poor. But that's just me. But the majority of that, definitely, they don't talk about, Clarence 13X and, black history. Of course, they don't talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Of course, they don't talk about Master Farad Muhammad. He ain't considered black to half of y'all. But, you might have an argument. I never saw the brother, dude. The picture looks like that. I get it. What Elijah Muhammad said, he said something different. But let's just knock off what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, right? Even if he was fucking white, did that teaching make black people a little bit better, or make them a better person, or change their life in a positive way? And I'll wait for that answer. Yes, of course you got people that corrupt every fucking thing. All right, government gave us welfare and food stamp. We commit food stamp fraud, y'all. Black people, we do these things, and you have black people that will always feed off of that hate and that elephant in the room between white people and black people, and you're gonna always have some people that's gonna feed off of that and use it to their advantage because of trauma. When the slaves, white people say, it's been so young, so a long time. When those slaves was released, so-called released, they didn't have psychiatrists to go to and talk to every weekend and the traumatizing things they saw. Some of them probably got raped. Nobody got treatment for that. So knock it off. Anyway, salute to the Nation of Gods and Earths. And I bring up WuTang because they were the first group that really got me wanting to know what the Nation of Gods and Earths was. listening to them call themselves God on that first album. I was like, what the fuck? Why is he calling each other God, and what's the Born Hour, and the way they spoke, and you can tell there was something behind it. So WuTang had a lot in bringing a lot of people to the Nation of Gods and Earths, just to be curious of what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because they blew up. There was some of the biggest people who were associated with the Nation of Gods and Earths that took hip hop to a new level. They stopped hip hop. When their albums dropped, everything else stopped. That's how powerful WuTang was back then. When you saw that fucking W, it was over. That first year when they put out those first albums, trust me, I was in the mix of it. I remember in New York, that's all I heard from each car was Protect Your Neck. And I'm telling my brother was back here in Florida, and I'm telling him, yo, it's this group called WuTang. And they laughing at me because at the time, there was a group by the name of the Booyah Tribe, right? If you know hip hop, you know what I'm talking about. And the name WuTang just sounded weird, so they just laughing at me. I'm like, I'm telling y'all, man, it's this group called WuTang, man. These niggas is like, yo, they off the hook. And so when I finally came back down here, because I used to go up there for the summer and then come back down here, you know, to go to school. Yo, and I came back with that album. It was over. It was over. I put everybody can stop with WuTang. And I was like, I told y'all, man. He's like, yeah. You told us, man. You told us. Because they just took that shit over. But you had to be there to, you know, see that. Anyway, salute to the Nation, Gods and Earths. So just to answer a question from a couple of people, yes, that's where I first got knowledge of self, the Nation of Gods and Earths. The first thing that, you know, got me out from coming from a Christian home was the Nation of Gods and Earths and hip hop. And they saw how powerful that was. Now you see what it is today. Not everybody, but Lil Nas X. Yeah, Lil Nas X. Peace, y'all.